Okay, hi there. Welcome to again to the continuation of data analysis in Excel. We finished the first part. Now we want to get into the second part just to back up on what we talked about. We consider what is data, types of data, why do we do analysis in Excel? And, that was what the first part was about. And now we want to go into formula and cell based calculations. This is very interesting, and this is where we also start the hands on. So, when we say when say formula and cell based, you have right there a brief note, a summary of what we're talking about. So, when we talk about formulas in Excel, they perform calculations or some specific actions on the data, which usually starts with equal to. I usually tell my students that the equal to sign is a ritual. And if you don't want to offend the spirit of Excel, you always make sure that you start with equal to. Otherwise, you won't get anything from it. So when you're constructing a formula in Excel, you start with the equal to sign. All right, and then you follow on with your computation or whatever the syntax may be. You have see how arithmetic calculations are. So arithmetic calculations are equal to a1 plus b1. So you've oops sorry, so a1 plus b1. That is how it is computed in Excel. So and we do not just talk about the number, we talk about the location of the value. So whatever value is in A1 and B1, the sum, the plus sign, their sums them together. For functions, which we'll get into more, you have equal to sum, then you open the parenthesis, A1 to A10. So the semicolon there, right, A1 to A10 is aggregates all the values in cell A1 to A10, okay, and adds them up. So you have the sum sign. Logical comparisons. So you have logical comparisons like if and etc. So and you have such an example as equal to if A1 is greater than 10, but also over 10, comma 10 or less. So if there are conditions, in order to conditions that are used for logical expressions, it's also done used in analysis in Excel. For cell-based calculations, we need to please understand, and I love this part. So it refers to the use of cell references in formulas to perform certain calculations. So when you see A1, for example, okay, A1, if you now decide to copy it down, drag it down, I'll show you some examples shortly. It adjusts when copied. So the value in A1, once you drag it down, it adjusts, continues. But if you want the value in A1 to remain, what you do is what you refer to as the absolute referencing. So you have the dollar sign before the A and the dollar sign before the one, which in this case the one is the row, the A is the column. All right, so you lock that cell up with the dollar sign. I'll get to that shortly. And if we have mixed referencing, that will be the dollar sign A1 or the A dollar sign 1, which means that only part of the reference remains constant. Now, enough of the talk. Let's get into some real life examples here. Now, I have some examples that I want to use to just drum, or shall I say, bring to your attention, just drive this lesson home. So take, for example, you have let me quickly do this. So watch this. This is a brand new workbook. So this is a brand new sheet. All right. So this is a brand new sheet just for you to see. These A, B, C, D, E, F. Those are the columns, and these are the rows. All right. These are the rows, and you have various tabs here. Various tabs. and in those tabs you have various divisions and groups. Okay, and groups. So if I go to sheet 1, watch this. So the question here is, in cell B8, that is this one here, we call, so we have B8, and this is the name box right here. So you have the name box here, right? It says in cell B8, create a formula that adds the expenses, do not include the revenue, then copy the formula through the range B8 to F8. So it expects us to calculate this and then copy the formula to our right, okay, to up to F8. Is that right? So expenses, how do we do? First thing, equals to, all right, equals, and when you do that, so equals to, now we can decide to go with sum. Let's go with sum. All right, already if you type equal to sum, the suggestion comes up. If you double click that, then it's now asking for which numbers. So I just come here and drag it down. So we have expense 1, 2, and 3, and then control enter. So that is it. I have the formula bar here. So the total expenses is B5 to B7. So that is B5, expense 1, expense 2, expense 3, all incurred on Monday. Okay, very important. Now, in order for us to copy it to F8, I say this to my students, we work smart, not hard. If in the process of working smart we now need to work hard, that's okay, but initially we try to do what? To work smart. So working smart will just mean, instead of repeating that formula to all the cells here, we click this and then we move our mouse to the lower part of cell B8 till we have this thick bold cross sign, and we just drag it and release it. Boom, that's it. There you go. So you see the formulas, they have adjusted on its own and it has calculated. Yeah. Now in cell B9 it says calculate the net income. Net income will be revenue minus expenses, right? So we have calculated the expenses, the total expenses here. If I can let me try and highlight that uniquely. Yeah, let me put red. That's fine. So the net income will be revenue, so expenses, total expenses from revenue. So, and that will be in this case equal to revenue, which is B4 minus B8. Control enter. I love that when you do control enter, you the output is given but the cell remain active. All right, okay. Can I reduce? So if I do control Z and I say equals to B4 minus B8, okay, and I do enter, see that? So it returns the value, which is $274. That's the difference. That's the net income. But now cell B10 is active. So what I want is cell B9 to remain active, because I need to copy it to F9. Okay, so that's what I have, that minus this, and then control enter, and then we work smart, remember, and then we drop this here. That's it. So it's the difference. That's net income. Okay, very simple, isn't it? Now let me go to sheet 4. Okay, I have some fairly interesting things to show you here. So we have this volume of sales, or let me put it as just numbers, okay, for product A, product B, product C, E, and D and E from January to June for 6 months, the first 6 months of this year, and we want to do some quick analysis. Now I want to show you something which is get into the realm of formatting, conditional formatting. As you know, as an analyst and you're providing report, not everybody loves numbers. Not everybody loves numbers. I've come to realize that there are some who managers or even some directors, they don't like numbers. They prefer whatever you're doing to be represented graphically. All right. So when you have January, February, March, April, yeah, the numbers look good, but in order to represent it more effectively, okay, what else can we do? For example, we can say for product A, watch this, for product A, from January to June, Okay, we select it, and then this quick analysis function pops up. So also you can evoke it using Control Q. If I click on this, you have formatting. Okay, you have charts, you have totals, you have tables, you have sparklines. Okay, if I go back to formatting, are you with me? And I click on data bars. Watch this. See, you will see, anyone that sees this will know that, oh, the highest sales for product A came in April. Did you see that? The highest sales for product A came when? In April, with $33,850 sales. Okay, and we can do the same for product B. So select, okay, highlight it, and then you could have the data bars. And you could decide to, do it for everyone, and then say, one data bars for everyone. Yeah, and it's going to select it relative to the column. So relative to column of column D, product C. All right, so it's choosing, it's giving us a graphical illustration of the sales for each product matching the in the month where it is recorded. Pretty neat, isn't it? If I come over here, and then we can actually say, all right, we want to clear formatting. So if I home tab here and say clear all, sorry, Control Z, beg your pardon. So what we want to do is to clear formats. Yeah, that's what we wanted, not clear all. All right, so we have this, and now because I've said clear formatting, it has also removed the grid lines. I want them back. Good. All right, so we have been able to visualize all these numbers, okay, which is pretty neat. Now, one other thing that we can also do is that we could also, what you've done for product A, you can actually do it for each of the months. Okay, you could do it for each of the months. See, yeah, do it for each of the months. You could do it for each of the months. Sorry, to select and then clear the format. Awesome. To do it for the month. But one of the things I want to do now is to actually represent this with a sparkline. What is a sparkline? You see, these numbers in this for the month of January, if you want to see the performance of all these products in the month of January, whether there is a pattern or there is a spike, want to be able to visualize it on time, right? There are ways to represent it. Watch this. So if I click on cell G2, okay, G2, and I go to insert tab, and under insert tab in the sparklines group, I click on line. Now a dialog box shows up. Location range, that is where we want the sparkline to be, is here in G2. See that? Data range is from B2 to F2, and I say okay. Boom. Did you see that? Right? Now, it tells us that. So, okay, let me do this. Let me add the markers. So if I click on this, markers shows up. Look at. These are the markers. It tells us that, okay, for product A in January, we had this sale. All right, it went up a little bit in sales in product in January. For product B, went up a little bit. Now product C didn't do well in January. It dipped. Okay, went up to the highest. The highest sales was recorded in January by product B. Okay, and then product C a little bit dipped as well. So we've been able to represent these numbers with this simple graph. Okay, now if I apply it down, drag it down, I see. Now, what's the point? Excuse me. What's the point having all this? You find that you are able to visually relate more with what you have in the G column. And the G column tells you the story of everything from B2 to F7. That's it. So we found out that in February, things were on the rise from product A, from product A up to product E. It was like a steady slope, as it were. Steady slope going on. All right. And every other one had their own ups and downs. Every other product in terms of the performance for each month had their own ups and downs. So this has to do with engagement of the performance of each of the products in every month. What about the performance of each of the product, of all the products across the month? So this one is all the products in one month. Now this one, the next one I want to do now is how each product fared across the month. Not in a month, but across the month. That is, we pick on product A and see how it fared from January to June. Can we do that? So if I click on BA, then insert tab, go to lines, the dialog box shows up, the location is already fixed. All right, I've chosen that, and then I select this and I say okay. There we go. I choose, click on the markers. There we go. Here I want to apply. Remember, working smart. That's it. That's how each of the product fared across the months. Across the months. Pretty neat, isn't it? Now, one of the things we can also do is that we could also come here and just change this line to column. Boom. Yeah. Change it to column. And the same thing we can do here as well. Change it to column. Yeah. Change it to column. Okay. Go back. Go back. We can. So we've been able to represent this chart that way. Okay. Now I want us to proceed further. So let me go back to sheet 1. So I want to quickly take us through something very neat here. I want us to assemble these numbers. Let me just pick these numbers, right click, copy, paste. Yep. And then I need like maybe 3 more. Right click, copy, and paste. Okay. Awesome. Now I don't want this decimal point. Let me reduce it. I want to decrease it. So I just have these numbers. What do I want to do? What I want to do is I want to quickly perform some high-level and basic calculations in Excel. So I want to find the sum of these numbers. I want to find the average of these numbers. I want to find the count of these numbers. I want to find the minimum of this number, the maximum of this number, and then I want to find the range of these numbers. Okay, the range of what? Of this. So the sum. Okay, see how I calculate this on a high level. Sum equals sum. Remember, you have to start with the equal sign, and then we'll pick this up, close it, and then control enter. There we go. That's the sum. Now average is equal to average, right? And watch this. So average returns the average arithmetic mean. That, and then I just select this, control enter, and that's it. That's the average for the number. Count equals count. Okay, it counts the number in the cells. So count this, and this becomes very useful. So there are 6 of them, and this we can manually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Or we can actually bring this, select, and then you see what is happening here. That Excel has done some quick calculations here for you. So if you select a group of numbers, Excel quickly defines the average, the count, and the sum, so which is tallying up with what we've done so far. Minimum, I want to find the least of this 6 numbers. So equals min. Yep. Maximum equals max. And then the range will be maximum, which is this, minus minimum, which is that. And that's it. We've been able to do some, a high-level cell-based calculations here. If I want to just drag it here. So these are like stats of this. These are stats of this. So all of this statistics speaks of what you have in this sorry, in this data set. So that's that for now. Now in sheet 2, I want to go on further, to create this. So you have this example here, this problem that we need to solve. In cell E4, create a formula that adds the employee calls, then copy the formula down the column. So here we go, employee calls. So these are the employee. So add it equals sum, all right? And then from B4 to D4, control enter, and then we now drag it down. So we found out that the formulas respond to each of the employees. We click on this, B6 to D7, right? B6. So what's in the 6th row is chin. And if you click on this, this is on 7. What's in the 7th row? Fam. All right. If you click on E8, what is in the 8th row? It is Sheila. And then if you click on E9, what's in the 9th row? Mo. So is that dynamic? But this is relative referencing. Okay, this is relative referencing. Now, watch this, everybody. If I go back to sheet 1, and so let me move this somewhere here. Okay, if I go back to sheet 1, and these are just sales number. Now, and I come to A1. Oh, sorry, no. I come to K2, and I say tax. So here, GST / HST is what? 13%. 13%. Right? And then we want to find out how much tax, I beg your pardon, are we going to pay for this? So this is sales price. Let me put sales price. Price, I beg your pardon, price. Let me change that to price. All right. So, but I'm interested in the tax component. How much tax are we going to pay on this? And that's not difficult to find. Equal to, again, H3, okay, multiply by what? By L2, sorry. Now watch this. Control enter. So I'm going to pay a tax of $37.83. Okay. Now, if I want to work smart and I apply this down, I found out that, I'm not paying tax for this. No, that's wrong. So what is going on? What is going on here? So pay attention to the formula bar, everybody. Pay attention to the formula bar. Look at what is happening here. What is in H4? H4 is 200. But what is in L3? This is L3. This is L3. Right? Nothing is in L3. The same thing to this, L4, nothing is in L4. See, nothing is in L4. So we're just multiplying 200 by nothing. So what is the solution? That is where, I don't know if you remember when we talked about absolute referencing. So I told you I was going to come into that. So if I come back to cell I3, what I need to do is to convert here L2 to absolute or fixed. And that is by putting the $sign in front of the L and in front of the 2. So between L and 2, there's a $sign, and there is a $sign before the L. Okay, so I would just, you can manually type it or go on your keyboard if you have, all right, and then do F4. All right, if you have a desktop, you can do F4. On your laptop, you need to be careful if you have a function. So I press the function because on my keyboard there is the F4 also shares the button with brightness, the brightness icon. So I press the function and F4. But for most of us, if you have your desktop with you, the F4 is usually its own landlord when it comes to that icon. So you can either press F4 or manually type it, and it should look like this. Once that is done, Control Enter, and then you now apply it down. Boom. There you go. You now have an idea of how much your tax you are paying and then the selling price, as you know, will now be what? Equal to H3 plus I3. Control enter, and there you go. That's it. So that's the selling price. That is the selling price. Okay, so, but what we've done here is so important. This is absolute referencing. What we did was to lock this cell. Lock the cell. What is that? Lock the cell. Lock the cell. All right. Lock the cell. Lock the cell up, and then make it a constant across, so it doesn't change. Every other thing changes, but the L2 remains the same. That is what you have here. Okay. Awesome. Now, we've done this. Let me go to sheet 3. Sheet 3 is quite interesting. So guys, when you have things like this, just means that the cell is too small for the numbers. Just double click. So in F4, it says create a formula that will add the sales for sales. All right, these are employees. If you look at it, you have let me see, control and so you have about 20 counts or 27 sales that were consummated by various sales rep. All right, now make sure that you verify the formula is working. So instead of create a formula that will add the sales for sales. So who is this? She's here. She's here. Now take for example, if this is about is about 200 records, or shall I say 1,000 records, then you appreciate what we're about to do. So we're going to use the if function. Okay, so we'll say equal to if, okay, if, all right, use the if function. Sorry. So we're gonna calculate the total sales consummated by the sales rep, okay, and we're going to use sum if. So that will be equal to sum if, okay, and the sum range is what we're going to consider first. The sum range will be the total sales, which will be from C4, control shift down arrow key. If I scroll back up, and you find out that you have the syntax here, and if I put a comma sign, the first criteria range is that we're telling Excel to look into the column for the sales rep, which is in column B, and that's B4, control down. And then the next thing is that we'll put a comma sign, and then we'll put a criteria range 2, which is sales, this one. Close it, then we'll click enter, and that's it. So the total sales by this sales rep is $543. What about Sue? We just apply the same thing, equal to sum ifs, because we have more than one criteria. So the sum range is here, comma, the criteria range is here as well, and then if you go back up, comma, and then the next one is Sue. So we tell Excel look exactly for Sue, and that is it. That's it. So there are many more things that we're going to cover in our training. Okay, I want you to wait up for the next one. Our next stop will be getting into logical and look up functions. It's going to be interesting. You will love it. I look forward to seeing you. Okay, until then, happy analysis. Thank you.